A few years back, I went through something with my ex-girlfriend that still sticks with me, proving that some people come crawling back when their lives fall apart after they betray someone who treated them right. I learned the hard way that when someone you love ditches you for someone else, only to hit rock bottom later, they might try to waltz back into your life, expecting you to fix their mess. My story's a cautionary tale about not falling for that trap. It all started when my girlfriend of 3 years cheated on me, got pregnant by another guy, and then had the nerve to beg for my help after everything went south for her. Back then, I was dating this woman who was a single mom, and I thought we had a decent thing going. Our relationship wasn't perfect. We had our fair share of arguments and rough patches, but we always found a way to sort things out and keep moving forward. I'm a firefighter, so my job's intense, and I poured a lot of my heart into being there for her and her little girl, trying to be a solid partner. But then, out of nowhere, she started acting off, like she was hiding something big. She'd get cagey when I asked her simple questions, and I could tell something was eating at her. I noticed she was snapping at me for no reason, which wasn't like her, and she seemed physically unwell too. Her daughter, who I'd gotten close to, mentioned she was throwing up a lot, which had me worried. I'm the kind of guy who tries to check in, so I asked if she was okay, hoping to get to the bottom of it. Instead, she bit my head off, shutting me down completely. It stung, but I figured maybe she was just stressed and needed space. Then things got weirder. One day, I sent her a text, and she didn't reply. I called her, but it went straight to voicemail. This wasn't totally out of character. She'd get busy sometimes, but it felt different, like she was deliberately ignoring me. I tried not to overthink it, but the next day, still nothing. No call, no text, no sign of her. This went on for a whole week, and I was starting to lose my mind wondering what was going on. Desperate for answers, I swung by her place, hoping to talk face to face. Either she wasn't home, or she was flat out avoiding me, because no one answered the door. I stood there, knocking, feeling like a fool, wondering if I'd done something to upset her. At that point, I was so worried I considered calling the police to make sure she was okay, but I didn't want to overstep. Still, it didn't sit right with me that she'd just vanished like that without a word. I sent her another text, asking if I'd messed up somehow, hoping she'd at least clue me in. I could see she was reading my messages. Those little read receipts were on, but she didn't bother responding. That hurt. I knew she was religious, so I tried appealing to that side of her, texting something like, "I'm sorry for whatever I did wrong. Even Jesus forgave Judas." I thought maybe that'd get through to her. Finally, she replied, saying something vague about God forgiving everyone, but then she told me to stop contacting her and blocked me on everything. Phone, social media, you name it. After 3 years together, that's how she ended it. No explanation, no goodbye, just a cold cutoff. I was gutted. It took me weeks to wrap my head around how someone I cared about could treat me like that. I kept replaying our relationship, wondering what I missed, but deep down, I knew I hadn't done anything to deserve that kind of disrespect. About 3 months later, I got a reality check that explained everything. I was dropping off a patient at the hospice facility where she worked, and I didn't spot her SUV in the lot, so I figured she wasn't around. While I was there, I chatted with one of the nurses who recognized me from when we were together. She asked how my ex was doing, and I admitted we'd split up. That's when the nurse dropped a bombshell. My ex had been fired from her job for wrecking one of the company's vehicles. Then, casually, she asked if I was going to help take care of the baby when it was born. I froze. "What baby?" I asked, my heart pounding. The nurse said my ex was about 5 months pregnant. I did the math, and there was no way it was mine. I'd had a vasectomy after my own daughter was born years earlier. The truth hit me like a freight train. She cheated on me, gotten pregnant by some other guy, and that's why she ghosted me. I felt sick to my stomach, betrayed and heartbroken all over again. After I found out my ex was pregnant by another guy, I learned the whole ugly truth about why she ditched me. The guy she cheated with, the father of her unborn kid, had come back into her life, and she chose him over me without so much as a heads up. Apparently, he got her pregnant and then bailed on her again, leaving her in a mess. I couldn't believe she'd thrown away our 3 years together for someone like that, but it showed me who she really was. Fast forward a bit, and there she was, showing up at my place, acting like I owed her something. She was in a tough spot, struggling to pay her bills and take care of her 2 daughters, her older girl from before we met, and the new baby. She told me she was on the verge of getting evicted because her job didn't pay enough to cover everything. I just stood there, listening to her sob story, wondering why she thought this was my problem to fix. She'd made her choices, and I wasn't the one who left her high and dry. Part of me was still furious about how she'd betrayed me, and I had every right to be. She'd ghosted me, cheated, and then cut me off like I meant nothing. But I couldn't help feeling a pang of sympathy for her daughters, especially the older one I'd grown close to during our relationship. Those kids didn't ask for their mom's bad decisions, and it broke my heart thinking they were caught up in her chaos. Still, I knew I had to stay strong and not let her pull me back in. In a moment of weakness, I did something I probably shouldn't have. I pulled out my wallet, handed her $100, and told her to use it to buy food for her girls. Then I looked her in the eye and said she needed to let go of her stubborn pride and move back in with her mom to get back on her feet. I knew her relationship with her mother was rocky. They'd had their share of fights, but her mom's place was always open to her and the kids. It was the practical thing to do, and I hoped she'd listen. She wasn't reaching out because she genuinely cared about me or regretted what she'd done. I could see it clearly now. She was desperate, grasping at straws because her life had fallen apart. She thought I'd be the same old reliable guy who'd swoop in and save her, but I wasn't about to play that role. I'd given her my trust once, and she'd shattered it. There was no way I was signing up to raise 2 kids that weren't mine, especially knowing she'd probably run back to that deadbeat if he ever showed up again. She started pleading, saying I was the only boyfriend who'd ever treated her with kindness, even through her ups and downs. She admitted she'd dated some real losers before me, guys who treated her poorly, and I guess I'd been her shot at something stable. But that just made it worse. It meant she saw me as the safe option, someone to fall back on when her bad choices caught up with her. I wasn't here to be her backup plan. I cut her off and made it clear I wasn't taking her back. I told her we were done, and I didn't want to keep talking about it. I asked her to leave my property, and she did, tears streaming down her face. Watching her cry tugged at my heartstrings, but I knew I'd made the right call. Letting her back into my life would have been a mistake, and I wasn't going to let guilt trip me into that trap. Later, I heard through the grapevine that she did end up moving back in with her mom, which was probably the best thing for her and the kids. I also heard she got her act together enough to earn a teacher's license and started working at an elementary school. I was surprised, honestly, but I hoped she was turning things around for her daughter's sake. As for me, I'd moved on with my life. I was dating a wonderful woman, a registered nurse I met through work, and we were even talking about getting married. For the first time in a long while, I felt like I was in a good place, and I wasn't about to let my ex's drama pull me back. Hey, if you got something out of my story and it hit home for you, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps get the word out. And if you want to hear more real-life experiences like this, hit that subscribe button and join the crew. I'm always sharing new stories, so let's keep the conversation going.